over here on comments. Hey, everybody, give me just a second. No, that's not what I'm trying to do. In case you're coming on, give me just a second to adjust here. This is Thursday Thunder, but on Friday. And originally, Kelly was going to be on here with me tonight, but we've more or less been having a few little difficulties and so forth. So Kelly is not going to be joining us. So it's just going to be me. But I'd already said that I was going to come on, and Kelly planned on it. It's just some stuff happened, and she's not going to be able to be here. So if you asked for Kelly to pull some cards for you, it'll still be me pulling cards. It's just like I said, there's nothing wrong with Kelly. It's just she's not going to make it in tonight. Anyway, as I start to wait and see if people are coming in and whatnot before I start pulling any cards, I want to remind you all also, because I more or less just got bopped upside the head from my guides. I don't know. A lot of people have been feeling like really tired, a lot of deja vu, a lot of really either having trouble with their grounding energy or really looking at what would be considered grounding energy, like your jobs, your groups and your groups and your memberships that you're a part of society. I had just posted about this before I came on while I was trying to work out some stuff with Kelly, because my guides more or less just came in and was like, right there's what you'd been missing. Mercury just went into shadow. It's going to be it just went into shadow right now where we're at. It's going to keep moving forward, and it's going to go into retrograde on the 29th of December. So right before the end of the year, it's going to be retrograding back. Now, it's not going to leave Capricorn, but that's going to have a lot to do with the energies you're going to be feeling as you come through Yule, as you come through Christmas, as you come through the New Year's, because when we're looking at the energies of, a lot of people always say when you're having Mercury retrograde, some people like really just blow it all out of proportion. But this is one that you want to pay attention to. That's why I was getting the smack upside the back of my head from my guides. For one, make sure that you are taking good care of your body, your health, and yourself. But no sleeping on the job as far as making sure your foundation is set, making sure that your like I said, it's the foundation. It is building new structure, and we're looking at what we're correcting in our people, places, and things that deal with our jobs, our working efforts, our society, and how we're seeing things. So we're definitely getting a little bit of a kinker here going, ning, 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 because when Mercury goes retrograde, people tend to get a little bit more self-centered. And when it's in shadow, they're usually a lot more self-centered, a lot more in their thinking, a lot more in their own mind. They're not really paying attention. This is why they say during Mercury retrograde, there's more car accidents and stuff. It's not that people are wrong. It's just they're more in their own mind. They're more in their own thinking. So they just said be vigilant and pay attention to your surroundings at this time as to what is going on, because it is definitely setting new foundations, and you don't want to be constructing a foundation off of your manifestation at this time that's going to work against you and make you have to back build. And like I said, people get in their word vomit more when we're in Mercury retrograde. We're not in retrograde, but shadow period tends to be a whole lot more word vomit than the actual retrograde. So I'm just giving you guys a little bit of a hint here and there of, like I said, I'm going to go back through it. And when I do the breaking the cage this week, I'll double check with my guides a little bit more as to what that means as we're approaching, Yule and the end of the year and Christmas and New Year's, this retrograde. But that's what I've been getting is a lot of make sure that you are filling the fountain healthy, both physically and spiritually. With that being said, let me have a sip of my drink and I'll pull a few cards for the collective. I do see some of the people who did pay for me to do readings tonight, and I know Kelly was going to do some of them for you because it's usually me or Kelly, but Kelly's not going to be here, so you're going to get them from me. Well, let's pull a few for the collective first. All right. Well, that one came right out. Duh, what was I just talking about? I can't make this shit up. And like I said, it typically, rarely for me do I get just one card anyway. First thing out is pay attention to the messages that you are receiving. It is an astrology one. It is the third house, and the third house is ruled by Mercury. So, like I said, that's my guides just giving you validation. And look, you've got Ra here at the top of it. It is the Eye of Ra. So this is also telling you, you are protected, but it is your responsibility to be paying attention to your surroundings again and what is going on. Plus all of the different symbols here that are on the card that is helping you to understand what messages you are receiving in this form, because the hieroglyphics, I'm really bad at Egyptian hieroglyphics. However, that's what this would be in here for. You're getting the messages. It is the messages. Make sure when we're in shadow, our messages in our mind tend to automatically go dark. Okay? Like I said, Mercury retrograde, we're a little bit more only talking to ourselves, but when it's in shadow, it tends to be a little bit more on the darker aspects. Pay attention to the signs that are given to you to see your way out of that negativity right now. And what also was coming with it is the fifth house with creativity. And this reminds me of the drama masks. But if you could, it is the drama mask, but it seems more morbid here in this one. This is playing right off of what I was saying before. This is the fifth house is your creativity. It's where you find your fun. When I'm doing astrology, it's where I always say that fifth house is your creative expression. And are you having time to be able to build that creative expression, getting into your art, getting into what makes you tick? Like I said, when I say what makes you tick, I'm speaking about along the lines of an artist needs time to do that painting. An artist who is a songwriter needs time to get into their heart and write what they're thinking. You know, a sports person needs to be able to have that practice so that they're getting better at what they're doing. Whatever it is that makes you tick, that makes you, you know, vibrantly being part of this life, that makes you want to be part of this life. Are you getting that time to get into that creative expression, into the drama masks, to put on that mask and play that part? Are you giving yourself the chance, the time, the ability? And I always say what gets in the way of the fifth house of creating your inner creative expression is when you're being manipulated by others, and in the form of, I know we all have to work for our work, you know, have a job, so to speak. But sometimes I use it a lot when I say, you know, like bosses, higher ranking bosses are like passing the buck down, and it gets all the way down to the little guys. And it's like, you have to do this, you have to do this, you have to do this, you have to do this. And they don't have any time left for them, is what I'm saying. Do not be manipulated into giving your time away. It is very important for right now for you to be in your creative expression, to figure out what that is, to enjoy what makes you tick, and not free willy just give that time and that energy away. It's very important for you to have that. I'm going to pull this deck, and then I will pull for Jessica. And then I'll get a couple more collectives before I start getting into the others. All right. This one. No, this one is for, it's not for Jessica. This one's the collective. We're fighting. Sorry. I think they thought that I thought it was going to be that. What they threw out is the Lovers. This could go two ways. In fact, it can really go three ways. Sorry, that's my dirty mind. It can go three ways, though, technically, because the lovers often speak about, lovers. It can be speaking about somebody coming back to you from the past. But what did I just start off with? We're going with Mercury in shadow, headed towards Mercury retrograde. There is always somebody or something or someplace, something along that line from the past in a Mercury retrograde. In the shadow period, there's always something returning. In the Mercury retrograde, it is never a good idea to go to the return. The return is a lesson for you to be able to learn the lesson, but to get closure at the same time as you move forward. So this could be a lover coming into your life, yes, but it could also be that lover that's a retrograde coming into your life because it has a lesson, but it may be more like a karmic lesson, a karmic lover. And for me, typically, the lovers are about you coming back to yourself, because I don't do much on that relationship alley. I usually try to steer my way away from that when I do readings on people. That's not my area. So typically, for any time the lovers come out for me, this is about returning to yourself, accepting yourself, loving yourself. But considering we were just talking about the Mercury shadow and the Mercury retrograde, this is also validating for some of you. There is someone coming back. And I'm going to do one more for the collective real fast, because I'm validating that I'm not supposed to use the same deck for you, Jessica. So we're going to come over here so that I make sure I didn't get any of that mixed up. One more for the collective, please. Thank you. Validating that real fast. Dancing through eternity. And look, it's lovers. This is dancing through eternity. It is the potential relationships, but letting go of fear. So, like I said, there may be people returning. Mercury retrograde, Mercury shadow. This is, again, going to be playing off that other card of loving yourself. But this is more of a potential of growth in any relationships if you are doing the Mercury retrograde lesson, along with the other astrological lessons right now. If you are truly, just not getting into, as I like to put it, if I'm using astrological terms, you have so many people out there who want to throw out like Venus as the lover energy. And I'm always like, no. I'm like, Venus is more about your sensitivities. She's teaching you about what's good for you and what's bad for you. Venus, I see in that relationship zone, is more like ooey gooey, soft and chewy. It's a brand new relationship, and yay! And then maybe 3 weeks later, it reminds me of like middle school. Like, oh, I like them this week, but next week they pissed me off, and I don't want anything to do with them. This is making sure we're not playing that game. We're not playing that kind of game. We're really being deep. We're really being raw. We're really being, deep within our soul, as if we're growing, if these relationships are good, as well as coming back to what that's going to mean for our soulful growth. All right. Now, with that being said, yeah, it is the same deck for Jessica. All right. I'm going to pull for you, Jessica. That was just uncalled for, guys. Jessica does not get like 13 cards. Give me just a second and I'll pull for Jessica. All right. Okay, what I'm getting first off is the Knight of Cups. I'm just going to read you what they are, and then I'm going to go over what they are. The Knight of Cups. Then I have the Six of Cups. But then I have the Hangman. All right. So this is saying slow your roll, mama. Slow it. Just slow it down. Because this is, and as I'm pulling these cards, I'm seeing the Knight on the horse for Pentacles, which is slow and steady always wins the race. So that more or less is what all three of these cards are meaning, because I'm seeing that card as I'm pulling these. Slow and steady wins the race. He is always the one that makes it to the finish line, the one that I'm seeing. The ones that I got is telling you, like I said, slow your roll. You have the Knight of Cups. He's a little immature, a little too ambitious, a little too ready to go. He can be very charming, and he can sound very much like everything that you want to hear, but it can also be a misleading situation. It's needing reassurance. It's kind of like, I'm going to give you that, but really I'm using it to make me feel better. And it's not fully something that is strong. Now, I don't know if this is a man that's really coming into the life or the situation at hand. However, slow your roll. It's not all, you're not seeing everything that there is to see yet. In order for you to get to the Six of Cups, this is speaking to you of fulfilling the relationship, making sure, like I said, slow your roll, whether it's the relationship with yourself or someone else. There is transformational healing taking place. It is speaking to you of a period of healing in order to get everything that you do want, but it comes with the Hangman. So this is not going to happen overnight. There is, anytime we are on the Hangman, remember, the Hangman is not like life or death. It is not anything that's over with. It's seen a lot as Odin. As Odin put himself on the tree for 7 days, allowed them to take one of his eyes so he could get the third eye, so he could truly learn the lesson. This is what's taking place here. You are working towards getting everything you ever wanted, but you're not done with this tree. You're not done with this tree yet. So it's time for you to still sit here, still observe, still allow that healing and those lessons to come in. I don't know if this is a man or if this is just a situation and you're very giddy about it, but slow your roll, because we're not done with the tree just yet. But you can get off the tree. But if you get off too early, you're not going to get everything you want. So slow your roll, mama. All right. Now, with that being said, let's go into, here we go. And I will pull for Kathy here in a few. But I want to hit a few more collectives first. This just flew out, so I'm going to take it. It is Mars. This is from one of the decks I created. It is Mars. It speaks to us about our Mars energy. And remember, right now, Mars is in retrograde in Gemini, which is ruled by Mercury, which is in shadow, getting ready to go retrograde right before Christmas. So it definitely affects our Mars energy. Our Mars energy is in the body. I was just told for somebody this has to do with your red and white blood counts for your blood cells. It has to do with the flow of your blood, the circulation for somebody that is for. But in the typical way of looking at this, this is also speaking to you about your passion, your action, your aggression, your communication of that passion, action, aggression. Mars is not exactly the most comfortable here in Gemini. It is very curious, but it's a little too cocky. It's a little, either it's cocky or it's off. Gemini is a lot like Jekyll and Hyde. And the problem, every sign has a problem and every sign has good things. Okay. But the problem with Gemini is it's the twins. The twins are supposed to act in balance. However, the twins is typically Jekyll and Hyde. One is all emotions. One is all logic. And you're usually all emotions or you're all logic. So you're usually missing one of the two. Now we're applying Mercury going into shadow, which rules Gemini, where applying Mars, which is in retrograde, kind of in its thinking a little too much, over analyzing, over passion, action, aggression, fire. But communication's kind of wonky. It's not coming out quite right. Okay, so this is making sure that you're analyzing correctly, you're seeing correctly, you're not just all emotions, but no paying attention, no logic, no real grounded energy, or that you're all grounded energy and you're just ignoring the emotions. So it's definitely telling us to look at this bigger picture right now, because not everything is being seen quite right, or not everything is being spoken with the full truths. All right. Let me see. One more, and then I'm going to hit you, Kathy, because I feel like this was actually for the collective. This one is definitely more for the collective, I believe, because as I'm picking this card, I'm getting the Six of Wands, but I'm getting it in reverse. This is usually about the warrior coming home, things being good, things, you know, the warrior king returns. It's the triumphant victory. There is not a triumphant victory here. Like I said, I'm getting a lot of this has to do with Mercury retrograde. Spirit just keeps giving me a lot of ego, a lot of stubborn, a lot of anger, a lot of repressed energy that's coming out, and it's coming out like word vomit. And that's going to keep that warrior, that triumphant return from coming in, and it's going to keep like things at bay so that it's not really getting to the surface. It's the emotional indifference of what is afraid to be spoken that's going to be like floating out in the sea instead of coming home to its truth and roostering its truth, is what they just said. So this is a forewarning. It has a lot to do with that Mars and that Mercury shadow energy. No sleeping right now on your depths, because it will mess you up. And at the same time, we get confused because we get all emotional about something. We don't know what decisions to make, so then we sleep on it. We don't make any decisions, and then accidentally we made the decision to not make a decision. So this is, you don't really have time to be messing this up either. This is figure out where you're wanting this foundation to go. If you want a victory, or do you want to stay at sea and really not get anywhere? All right. Kathy, I'm doing this one for Audrey because I'm hearing her name first, even though I keep saying for Kathy. But I'm hearing for Audrey, and I have a feeling that this is going to have more than one deck. Hold on. They're sticking on me. All right, apparently Audrey's going through a little bit of something, and she may not even realize that she's really going through it, is the way I'm getting it. What I'm getting is the ageless, the light in the darkness. So this card is supposed to be about, you know, a glorious returning to self. It is about healing and accepting, but it's about having the eyes to see through the darkness of what you're going through and seeing the changes that are being made as you're growing. This is all about growth, because then this is Jane the Maid. She's a guardian of saints. And this is about finding the humility for that growth and accepting, some humble pie here, disillusionment of what she originally was thinking, and finding herself to be the strong warrior. Because when I asked it for clarification, they sent me to the other ones to validate. And it is simply that she's going through a growth spurt, a spiritual growth spurt. She's learning how to be more spiritually mature and make better decisions here about something that she's apparently conquering, whether it's in herself or in the three-dimensional world. But the situation is still taking place. It is growth. Just be there for her and help her walk through it the best you can, because it ends fine. It's a new day. It's a new day. It's just something that she's learning as she's moving forward. Now, I'm going to do Kathy, then I'm going to do another collective before I come back for Gracie. Puff, puff, pass. Larry, you just make me laugh. Or Kathy. What else do I need here for Kathy? Oh. Okay, this is about you to way it sounds to me. It's coming out with the first house. This is the body, the person, the creator of who we're talking about. So we're talking about you, Kathy. This is your identity. It is your physical body, your physical reality, your three-dimensional world. And we are looking at it as the first house of seeing your personality, seeing how it's changing, acknowledging who you are in all situations. But it is eclipsing, because you're not who you once were. This is coming into a revolution, coming into a change. You are definitely spiritually growing. But you are still having issues of, you're no different from anybody else. You're having issues of, relating to who you once were, not who you really are growing into. We all have pitfalls where we step backwards, and that's our comfort zone. That's who we knew ourselves to be. That's who we thought we were. But we're realizing not really. And that was part of that society game, that 3D reality, everything that they've taught us, put down on us, given us the idea of. And we're realizing, wow, we're so much more than that. But while we do that, we're also realizing characteristics that we're not always proud of, that we have carried and that we've been part of. But that doesn't mean that, I always say, when you're accepting your full self, your full wholeness, you've got to accept the divine part of you and that divine bigness, but you also have to accept your divine negative crap. I mean like your own evil. I will be the first one to say, I'm all about love and light and wanting to see everybody succeed, but I am also the crazy bitch that will run you over with a car, back up and run over again, just in case I miss the spot if you have me that mad. And I say it that way because I want you to know how real I mean. We all have our ups and downs. None of us are 100% perfect, but we are who we are. And you're coming through a revolution of accepting parts of you who have changed, parts of you who you thought you were, but you're not anymore. And what's coming with it is obsessive behaviors, obsessive ideas, obsessive thinking into the bad addictions. and the stabbings in the back. This is making me think of allowing yourself to be around people that maybe hasn't always been good to you. This is because it's this person, it's not just the stabbing in the back. Look, they have a chain on their neck. They're being dragged along and accepted to take it again and again and again. You'll just get stabbed in the back and you'll like it. No. But this is obsessive old behaviors, old thinking, old patterns, old ideas of things that have harmed you. And like I said, when we're in shadow, especially Mercury's shadow, our thinking comes really grounded and can really manifest really fast if we're in a negative thinking. So this is saying that there's nothing wrong here with who you are or anything that you've allowed to happen in the past. It's simply you coming into evolution, you coming into revolution of yourself and becoming the new you. But it's a part of the lesson you're learning about the truth of who you was. As you make these changes. Now, I'm going to do a collective, and I will come back for Gracie. Queen of Swords, off with their head. That's what Queen of Swords is known for. She is definitely emotionally sensitive, but she is also very quick to shift her emotions, quick to change that thinking. This is part of what I've been saying that they were giving me before I even came in here. It's that Mars retrograde with it being in Gemini, the communication in our mind with ourselves, ruled by Mercury, which just entered shadow, really starting to tweak on some of these darker areas and going, so did you really grow here? Did you? It's us picking on ourselves. It's us picking on ourselves and really just projecting that out. Remember, for those who walk that spiritual path, this is a lot like the mirror. The mirror of the planet is throwing up that mirror going, these are all the things, all of those little things that you don't like about yourself that I'm going to show you in everyone else. So that you have to address what about yourself you don't like and why. That does not necessarily mean that we have to change it or that we have to fix it. We are who we are. We are 100% of all of what we are. Like I said, you have dark in you, you have light in you. You have to have both or there is no balance. But you have to accept yourself with love in all directions. And this is saying, are we just taking it out on everyone else? Or are we making sure that we are cutting off the heads and cutting off the cords that need to be cut? But this is evaluating that brain thinking. Like I said, Mars is not exactly in the most strongest place. It's either a little too throttle or I ain't getting any energy. There is no choke here. So it's trying to balance where this is going. Because this energy, I've been warning people for the last couple of months, it was about to snap down with a whole lot of funk coming in. And I'm warning you now, this is exactly what I was talking about, except for I didn't realize it was the actual retrograde throwing the other retrograde off even more. It's the first house, again, that's coming in. This is for everybody. This is realizing who we are, our identity. It's realizing, our characteristics and what these characteristics are, how we're viewing the world around us, and what eyes are we viewing it in. But it's also coming with with lambed. This is Hebrew. It is the shepherd when you look at it from the Hebrew point of view. And what I was just given is the flying tower if we're looking at it from Hebrew perspectives. It is the flying tower. It is the lift above the normal spiritual realm. into the higher realms. Like Hebrew is also always talking about the higher waters or the lower waters. This is the higher realms or the lower realms. This is, are we in that higher realm? The tower is part of that higher realm. It is not like tarot where the tower is falling apart. It is a rising tower, continuing to grow, like Jacob's ladder. Okay? And this is coming into the divine sight. But it also, Lamb is also the shepherd in general, the one who is making sure to bring the people the right way. So this is in a form speaking to you as well about, are you a leader? Or are you a follower? Because it's coming with your first house. It's coming with the first house, with the character, the personality, the authority of being you, because you are acknowledging who you are. Are you a shepherd leading the flock the right way or the wrong way? I'm also getting the little drummer boy. This always comes with me with Lamb. And it's like the little drummer boy song. And the idea of the little drummer boy, the way that it's been put into my head is, according to the song and so forth, everybody is coming to give the king something. The little drummer boy has nothing but himself, nothing but his song. You don't need to manipulate and push and try to show off. You are good enough by being you. But are you good enough in yourself, your divine self, to accept and acknowledge that? And to know that just your own soul song is enough to get you to that flying tower. But you've got to find it. All right. I'm going for Gracie. I'm going for Gracie. Yeah. Gracie needs to contact Grim. Period. Her mind's in too many places. I have cards for you, but I'm getting a little over controlling and trying to push too hard for whatever it is that's going on with her. And I'm getting kind of like, she just needs to come to me. All right. What I got first was interference. It is the 8 of Swords. It's interference. It's indecisions. Can't make the right decision. Step away. Step back. She's trying to get into too much too fast. She's doing something too. She can't choose. She's all over is what I'm getting. She's overthinking, kind of scattered. That may be her picking up the planetary energy. She may be picking up more than you guys even realize. Because she may be like me. I'm telling you, when Mercury switches from one planet or switches a direction, I'm like ready to hit the floor for like an hour. I'm like, and so she may be a little bit more, and our gifts are getting upgraded right now. So it may be something along that line in general, because the next thing that came out is a steam cave. It is honoring the relationship she has with this earth. Slow down, ground herself. She needs to slow down. She needs to ground herself. She needs to get back to her oneness and help herself through this state of being. Then hold on. Which way? Is the octagon. It is honoring your inner child, but I get that she's not necessarily doing that. I'm getting more of she's honoring her inner wounded, her inner fear or anxiety or doubt, because this is physically, emotionally not getting the help that she needs to be getting from that inner child. She's not trusting it. She's trying to push her way through, is what I'm getting, which is just going to cause locusts. This is the swords. It's the 5 of swords. It's, you know, having a question with what to do, questioning faith, questioning where to go. And that's why I said Grim is just saying no. Tell her she just needs to, because Grim always is watching her. You know that. Grim and her already have a thing. So he needs, I get it. He's helping. She needs to understand how to let the dead to the dead, how to let go. It's like when we grow, we're first a baby and then we learn to crawl. But when we get past crawling, we start to walk, you know, and then we're finally becoming a toddler, and then we're finally becoming a teen. Every time we move, there is a death taking place, and he is taking part of that away so that we can grow into our next place. She's trying to hold on to an area or an energy too much that she's no longer a part of. And he needs to help her, or he can help her to let the dead to the dead if she's willing to learn it. Because he's knocking me down, if you can't tell. All right. And we're going to pull a couple more cards real fast for the collective. Hi, Janet. Hi, Cheryl. I did see you all. It's just, I've been, you know, channeling and reading. So what else does the collective need to hear? Downcast pride. This is, I don't really know how else to put it any better than this. This is a little bit of humble pie, folks. I mean, it's not just the holiday season. I mean, like I said, this is, I just heard lifetimes upon lifetimes upon lifetimes to get us where we're at. This is about us really starting to break patterns. But in order for us to do that, we have to be willing to grow. And our pride gets us, you know, keeps us often from actually making that. We end up making often some dumb, loving decisions. And I mean it just that way. We do some of the worst things ever for the right intentions. But that's because our ego's here telling us that it's the right intentions. We go through life not telling people how much we love them. We keep secrets from each other because we're trying to protect them, but are we? Our pride makes us do some of the stupidest loving things. And this is downcasted. This is, it's keeping you from your depths of your true soul. Right now, you need to be listening to that, because there's major life-changing situations that are taking place astrologically, spiritually, 3-dimensionally, higher dimensions, that a lot of you, it's like it's taken lifetimes to get us to where we're at. This is not the time to be sleeping on the job with your soulful growth. I love you guys, and I'll be back with Breaking the Cage on Sunday night. Bye.